On October 18th, at the Edison Municipal Complex, Governor Phil Murphy signed a new legislation increasing penalties for home invasions and burglaries. Championed by Edison Mayor Sam Joshi, the law aims to deter such crimes by classifying home invasions as first-degree offenses with penalties of 10 to 20 years in prison. Residential burglaries now carry 5 to 10 years sentences, and juveniles aged 15 to 18 may face up to 20 years in prison. While the ACLU raised concerns over its impact on young offenders, the law gained bipartisan support to enhance public safety across New Jersey. Watch the highlights.
Right now, the law of the land.
Just more than 2 years ago, I realized then that the problem has gotten far worse than many years before. What had happened and what I learned was that the law in the state of New Jersey was not serving as a deterrent as it should. And before we reached out to the state, we wanted to know what we could do in-house right here in Edison to address the crisis of home invasions and burglaries. And some of the measures that we took, I did so with working very closely with our chief of police, as well as the prosecutor's office, and speaking to our attorney general. We had increased the amount of patrol officers. We increased the amount of police officers to 196, which is the highest level of police officers here in Edison Township in 15 years. That wasn't enough, so we added 100 license plate readers strategically placed throughout the entire town. We also partnered up with ATTF, the Auto Task Force in the state of New Jersey. We added canine units. We did so many things. We actually implemented a surge, which meant that we had 3, sometimes even 4 times the amount of police officers that were on the road at a given time. And yet that was still not enough, because when our officers were catching those bad guys and those criminals, what would end up happening is, unfortunately, some of them, especially the juveniles, would get right back on the street. And it demoralized our department. But what's worse is, on a weekly basis, I spoke in my office or on the streets in Edison. I have spoken with our police to the victims. And the current law, as we saw it, and I've expressed this to the Attorney General and the Governor as well, the current law sympathized more with the perpetrators rather than justice for the victims. We have some of the victims here today of burglaries and home invasions and attempted home invasions, and it's alarming. Someone like Kieran, who woke up in the middle of the night because there were 3 individuals within her property screaming. That is traumatic. I have spoken to children that have not been able to sleep properly ever since that incident occurred. We have Goldie here in the room as well, because in the middle of the night, folks, the bad guys broke into his home. They went through his entire house. And the trauma that you must have gone through, I cannot imagine what it's like to be in your shoes. But today, we are turning a page in New Jersey's history, because democracy works. We have an awesome legislator. We have an awesome set of folks around here, the Attorney General as well as the Governor, who listen. And they understand the problem as well. And we want justice for each of you. We don't want this to be a problem in the first place.
It's a bipartisan effort. The Legislative District 18 is in the House, represented by Stanley. Stanley, thank you for your leadership. I know Pat Dignam wanted to be here and couldn't. Rob Karabenchak was here as of a couple of days ago, and sadly his neighbor of 40 years passed, and he's eulogizing him as we speak. A shout out, you mentioned the Speaker, Craig Coughlin. And I mentioned Pat Duggan as well. I want to thank all the legislators in both parties for helping us get this thing over the goal line. Attorney General Matt Platkin, Superintendent of the State Police Pat Callahan, I deeply appreciate your leadership. To all members of law enforcement, especially the senior members of the Edison PD and their team, thank you for hosting us union leaders. We have Wayne Blanchard and Rob Nixon in the House. Thank you guys for your leadership, and to all the brave women and men who keep our community safe. My Congressman, Frank Pallone, is with us. Thank you for being the key advocate at the federal level to ensuring that our municipalities have the resources they need to keep our families safe. Frankly, thank you for that. We've got Ron Rios, and on behalf of you and your fellow commissioners, Ron, Prosecutor Yolanda Ciccone is with us. Thank you, Madam Prosecutor, and your team, and to everybody here, thank you for being with us. So this legislation that I'll be signing into law in a few moments, with this, we are going to keep building on our progress to ensure that New Jersey remains the best state anywhere in America.
Our law enforcement partners, county prosecutors, chief. This is a conversation I've had with many of you now for going on almost 3 years. And this is a really significant step in keeping our state safe. I want to just first extend my condolences following what the governor said to the family of Detective Sergeant Monica Mosley from the Cumberland County Prosecutor's Office. I met Monica. I didn't know her particularly well, but she was the best of what law enforcement stood for. And if you've read anything about her over the past few days, or if you've spoken to her colleagues, as I have, we should, A, mourn her loss, be tremendously proud that we have law enforcement officers like her throughout our state, and C, know that thanks to the work of the state police.
I'm glad the Gov and AG talked about those trends. I wake up every morning at 5:30 to report how many people were shot in New Jersey, how many people died as a result of those shootings, how many people overdosed, and how many cars were stolen. And that's important because of the nexus between all three of them. We have a small group of violent recidivist offenders doing most of this. The AG talked about us being down 18%. Our goal last year was to get under 1,000. Knocking on wood, we will be under 900, and that was the goal this year, to be under 900. But the fact that those shooters, and Joe Brennan would be glad that I said this, our retired lieutenant colonel, every single shooter in New Jersey is involved in auto theft. You think about that. Every shooter is involved in auto theft. They are the ones breaking into homes and doing this a lot of the times. Not every single person involved in theft is a shooter, but that small group of recidivist offenders that time and time again violate people's privacy and come into their home. So I'm honored to speak on behalf of all of law enforcement to say thank you to the legislature, thank you to the governor. This will make a difference as we continue to trend down with the ultimate goal of being zero one day, a tough goal and a lofty goal, but the fact that we're going to be under 900 this year and to see those auto thefts also going down speaks volumes to this collaborative effort that's certainly, it takes a village moment for all of us. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
And equipment to help fight crime. A lot of you are familiar with the COPS grants, which I try every year to get more funding for, and we have gotten more funding. And then we try to help the police departments apply for these grants. And we've been pretty successful in Middlesex and Monmouth County in getting more COPS grants, and not only for more police, but also for more equipment. But that's not why I'm here today. I'm here to thank the state and our local officials for what they're doing with this bill.